The dust rises from a distant battlefield, and somewhere in the chaos, a commander realizes his soldiers are facing something they've never seen before, a mechanism they don't understand, a weapon moving with a speed they can't match, a single machine that will change everything in the next few seconds. For thousands of years, humans have engineered new ways to turn the tide of war. Some weapons were so far ahead of their time, so brutally effective against the armies that faced them, that soldiers who survived them had stories no one believed. These weren't lucky strikes or exaggerated tales. These were weapons so dangerous, so unexpected, so deadly, that entire armies learned to fear them. 10 ancient weapons stand above the rest. 10 machines and designs that terrified the ancient world. This is their story. Number 10. The Roman pilum. Picture a Roman legionary standing in formation with thousands of others, locked shield to shield, moving forward as a single wall of bronze and iron. But before the armies meet, something happens. The command is given. Thousands of arms rise simultaneously. Thousands of javelins arc through the sky. The pilum, not a spear meant for stabbing, but a javelin designed with a brutally specific purpose, falls like iron rain. What made the pilum different from every other throwing spear was its design. The shaft was wood, but the head was long and heavy, often with a hollow socket that weakened the connection deliberately. When a pilum struck an enemy shield, the force was enormous. But here's what made Roman commanders obsessed with it. The shaft would bend and warp. The shield became useless. An enemy soldier standing behind that shield suddenly held a heavy, twisted piece of wood. He couldn't throw it back. He couldn't even hold it properly. His protection was gone in an instant. And behind the first volley came the legionaries, advancing with their own short swords. The pilum wasn't meant to kill from a distance. It was meant to disarm, to panic, to create the moment of vulnerability where the real killing began. Roman generals understood something crucial. A weapon doesn't always have to be the deadliest if it can control the battlefield.
Number 9. The composite bow. Step back to the steppes in the ancient empires that relied on horseback warfare. The composite bow wasn't a simple wooden bow. Its construction was an engineering marvel that took months of skilled craftsmanship. Layers of horn, wood, and sinew were glued together, creating a weapon far more powerful than anything a single material could achieve. A skilled archer could draw this bow with force that wooden bows simply couldn't match. The result was a projectile that flew faster, traveled farther, and hit with devastating power. But the real terror came from the way these bows were used in warfare. Scythian and Persian archers could rain arrows from distances where infantry couldn't even reach them with spears. Mounted archers could strike, wheel their horses, and strike again before enemies came close. At the Battle of the Granicus River, when Alexander the Great's forces crossed into Persian territory, they faced Persian mounted archers equipped with these composite bows. The arrows came from unexpected angles. They pierced through armor that soldiers thought would protect them. The psychological impact was as real as the wounds. Soldiers standing in formation suddenly realized death could come from hundreds of yards away, from an enemy they couldn't touch yet. And if that sounds terrifying, wait until you see what came next.
Number 8. Greek fire. Around the year 670 AD, the Byzantine Empire faced an existential threat. Arab forces attacked Constantinople itself, arriving by sea with powerful warships and overwhelming numbers. The city should have fallen, but then the Byzantine military deployed a weapon so secret that its exact composition was never written down, and the formula would die with the empire, centuries later. Greek fire, a substance that ignited on contact with water that couldn't be extinguished by ordinary means, that burned with such intensity it could melt through wooden hulls. The historical accounts describe it projected through bronze tubes mounted on ships, creating streams of flaming liquid that turned the sea itself into a weapon. Ships caught fire in seconds. Sailors jumped into the water to escape the flames, only to discover the fire followed them, burning across the water's surface. The Arab fleet, which had seemed invincible, was decimated. The emperor stood on the walls and watched as his secret weapon saved the city. For decades, no enemy dared to attack Constantinople by sea again. The fear alone was worth more than any actual battle. And in an age when few understood chemistry or combustion, Greek fire seemed less like a weapon and more like the wrath of the gods. Number 7. The ballista. Roman engineers didn't just invent the pilum. They created siege weapons that changed warfare fundamentally. The ballista was essentially a giant crossbow, operating on the same torsion principle that powered smaller mechanisms. Twisted ropes would be wound tight, holding back a wooden arm. When released, that arm snapped forward with tremendous force, launching a bolt or stone across a distance that seemed impossible. A ballista could fire a stone weighing 50 pounds or more across a distance of 400 yards. But more importantly, it could do this repeatedly, with accuracy that terrified defenders. During the siege of Masada, Roman forces used ballistae to such devastating effect that the Jewish defenders realized their walls were no longer a shield, but a target range. A bolt from a ballista didn't just wound, it shattered bone, punched through armor, and created casualties that spread fear through ranks of soldiers. What made the ballista truly revolutionary was that it took skill to build, but required minimal training to operate effectively. A trained artillery operator could keep firing at targets on walls, on towers, at gates, forcing defenders to cower behind their own protection. The sound of it firing, the snap of the torsion release, the whistle of the projectile, became a sound soldiers dreaded, but that was only the beginning. Number 6. The war elephant. Imagine you're a young soldier in an ancient army. You've trained for years. You know how to form up with your unit, how to hold a line, how to fight the enemy across from you. Nothing prepared you for what appears on the battlefield. A creature 10 feet tall, weighing 10 tons, moving directly toward your formation with a rider on its back and weapons mounted on its body. The war elephant wasn't just a transport animal. In battles across India, Persia, and the Hellenistic world, elephants were converted into mobile platforms of devastation. They could carry archers who fired from an elevated position. They could be fitted with armor that turned them into living siege engines. Their very presence could break a cavalry charge. Horses simply wouldn't advance toward them. And an elephant in panic, wounded and enraged, was a force of nature that could destroy an entire section of a battle line. During Alexander the Great's invasion of India, his forces encountered war elephants for the first time at the Battle of the Hydaspes River in 326 BC. His cavalry, which had conquered every enemy they'd faced, found itself helpless against animals they'd never encountered. Soldiers could stab at the legs, but the reach was short and the elephant's hide was thick. They could try to hamstring the animal, but dozens of soldiers would die trying. The psychological effect was profound. Soldiers saw their own advantage disappear. Alexander won that battle, but the cost was high, and he never pursued the Indian campaign further. The elephant had proven that not every weapon was simply a matter of training and discipline. Sometimes, you were facing something that required entirely new strategies. Then came a weapon that changed the battlefield in a completely different way. Number 5. The ballista's evolution, the trebuchet. When Roman engineers perfected the ballista, they believed they had created the ultimate siege weapon. But centuries later, siege warfare evolved. The trebuchet took the principles of the ballista and made them exponentially more powerful. Instead of torsion, the trebuchet used a counterweight system. A massive weighted arm, balanced on a fulcrum, would be pulled down and held. When released, the counterweight would crash to the ground, and the arm would snap upward with such force that a projectile launched from a sling would travel across a distance that seemed to defy the laws of physics. A trebuchet could launch a stone weighing 300 pounds, the weight of multiple warriors, across distances of 300 yards or more. But more importantly, the damage pattern was catastrophic. A stone that size didn't just damage a single target, it shattered everything in its path. Walls that might resist a ballista volley would crack under the impact of a trebuchet's projectile. Gates would splinter, defenders on walls would be killed in groups, and the psychological effect was devastating. When defenders realized their walls were vulnerable to something that could strike from such a distance, hope diminished. Cities that might have held out for months against traditional siege equipment would surrender after a few days of bombardment from trebuchets. The weapon was so effective that it remained the dominant siege weapon for centuries. But the next one was something else entirely. If you're fascinated by the weapons that changed history, subscribe. The remaining 5 will show you power you didn't know ancient warriors possessed. Number 4. The repeating crossbow. In ancient China, military engineers developed something that seemed like science fiction. The repeating crossbow, also called the gastrophetes, was a mechanical marvel that allowed a single soldier to fire multiple bolts in rapid succession. The mechanism was elegant. As the user pulled the trigger, the bow would reset itself, load another bolt automatically, and prepare for the next shot. A skilled operator could fire a dozen bolts in the time it took a traditional bowman to knock and draw once. More than that, the training required was minimal. A soldier with a crossbow didn't need years of practice the way archers did. They could be trained quickly and deployed effectively. Historical accounts describe armies equipped with repeating crossbows as nearly unstoppable in the field. The sheer volume of projectiles overwhelmed traditional defenses. Enemies couldn't advance because they were under constant fire. They couldn't retreat without sustaining massive casualties. The repeating crossbow represented something new, a weapon that didn't rely on the skill or strength of the individual soldier, but rather on an engineered mechanism. It was a preview of something the world wouldn't see fully realized for centuries. For its time, it was almost supernatural, a machine that killed. Number 3. The Greek fire flamethrower. Remember Greek fire? Now imagine it as a directed weapon on the battlefield, not just at sea. The siphon apparatus that projected Greek fire could be mounted on fortifications, or even carried into battle. Fire streams that burned with an intensity that water couldn't extinguish. When enemies saw Greek fire being prepared, the tubes being positioned, the substance being loaded, panic set in. In the context of ancient siege warfare, there was simply nothing soldiers could do. You couldn't defend against it. You couldn't hide from it. You couldn't even douse it afterward. The flames would spread, would climb walls, would consume everything in their path. At the siege of Constantinople in 718 AD, Greek fire turned the tide of what should have been the conquest of the greatest city in the world. Arab forces attacked with superior numbers, with better siege equipment than they'd brought before, with confidence that this time, the city would fall. When the Greek fire flamethrowers activated, entire sections of the enemy fleet ignited. Soldiers on the walls watched as their enemies burned, and more crucially, they understood that their city had a weapon the outside world couldn't match. No enemy technology could counter it. No amount of training could overcome it. The very existence of the weapon meant the city would stand. The battlefield was about to become even more dangerous. Number 2. The mangonel. Before the full development of the trebuchet, there was the mangonel, a siege weapon that combined elements of both tension and counterweight. It was simpler than a trebuchet, cheaper to build, and could be deployed more quickly, yet it was devastatingly effective. A mangonel could launch projectiles with tremendous force across significant distances. But what made it particularly terrifying was its versatility. It could fire stones for traditional siege purposes, but it could also fire incendiary projectiles, flaming balls that would ignite on contact. It could fire bolts. It could even fire carcasses or diseased animals, spreading plague through a besieged city. At the Siege of Acre during the Crusades, mangonel operators created such devastation that defenders questioned whether holding the walls was even possible. Sections of the fortification would collapse from repeated bombardment. Soldiers on those walls would fall to direct hits. Others would be crushed by falling debris. The noise alone, the sound of the projectile hitting stone, the sound of the mechanism firing, the screams of the wounded, created an atmosphere of horror that wore on the defenders' minds. A siege that might have been survivable with traditional siege equipment became psychologically unbearable with mangonel bombardment. The weapon wasn't just effective, it was mind-breaking. But nothing prepared ancient militaries for what came next. Number 1. The Greek fire naval arsenal. The ultimate ancient weapon wasn't a single device, it was a complete system. The Byzantine Empire's full deployment of Greek fire represented the peak of ancient military technology. It wasn't just flamethrowers, it was a comprehensive naval warfare system. Greek fire catapults, Greek fire siphons, Greek fire mines dropped into the water, Greek fire used in combination with traditional weaponry. When the Byzantine Empire faced the Arab Caliphate's invasion, they brought to bear a weapon system so comprehensive and so devastating that it fundamentally changed the balance of power in the Mediterranean for centuries. Historical records describe entire enemy fleets being destroyed in single engagements. Cities that were thought to be on the verge of conquest were saved by this technology. And the most remarkable aspect was that no one outside the empire truly understood what they were facing. Enemies didn't know what the burning substance was. They didn't know how to defend against it. They didn't know if it could be replicated. The mystery itself became part of the weapon's power. Generals on the opposing side would advise their rulers, don't attack Byzantine territory by sea. Don't even attempt an amphibious assault. You will be annihilated by a force you cannot defend against. And they were right. For centuries, no enemy successfully challenged Byzantine naval dominance. The weapon held. It was never surpassed in the ancient world. No other civilization created its equivalent. The discovery of how to create Greek fire was lost with the fall of the Byzantine Empire. Medieval scholars, Renaissance researchers, and modern historians have spent centuries trying to recreate it. The formula died with the empire. The exact ingredients, the precise method of preparation, the secret of its manufacture, all of it vanished. And that might be the most telling thing about this weapon. It was so far advanced for its time, so utterly beyond what other civilizations could create, that when it disappeared, the ancient world lost something that couldn't be replaced. Long before gunpowder came to dominate warfare, ancient civilizations had already discovered how to weaponize chemistry itself. The armies of the ancient world weren't primitive. They were engineering cultures that understood physics, mechanics, material science, and psychology in ways that allowed them to create weapons of remarkable sophistication. Some of these weapons vanished from history, others evolved, but every one of them tells the same story. The ancient soldier was far more resourceful, and the ancient battlefield far more advanced and far more deadly than history often remembers. Long before gunpowder filled the battlefield, ancient warriors were already finding terrifying ways to turn wood, bronze, iron, fire, and simple mechanics into weapons of war. Some disappeared, others changed forever, but every one of them tells the same story. The ancient battlefield was far more advanced and far more dangerous than we often imagine.